Hey guys, welcome to the Emergence Podcast, a podcast that aims to empower fitness professionals through candid conversations about building sustainable minds, bodies, and businesses. I'm your host, Laura Gunder, ex professional ballet dancer turned classical Pilates instructor based in New York City, sharing my insights from a decades long journey navigating an industry with no set path to success. Thanks so much for tuning in. Hey guys, welcome to the walk portion of the Emergence Podcast. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you guys have taken the time, if not right now, to give yourself that 20 to 30 minutes walk and to take a deep breath and just kind of relax and give yourself a moment to yourself. So, this week I had the pleasure of speaking to Alexa Javens, who is such a wonderful and inspirational business owner, coach, and leader. And I was so inspired by her generosity and kindness and her ability to really emulate and embody all the advice and wisdom she gave to me and to you guys. And some main points I want to talk about are curiosity and following our kind of need for curiosity, continued education, and to kind of knowing our season and how to navigate kind of challenges, knowing when you need to push and pull back. So, I want to start with a quote and then kind of recap from there. So, one of the important takeaways I found was even when you have a really hard season where you don't think you can do it, keep on putting yourself out there, meeting new people, training more people, and saying yes to more opportunities in the space that you want to work in. And before you know it, you're doing good work, you're producing good work, and you're a good person and you care about people. It's going to work out for you. And I think that quote kind of encompasses our conversation as a whole. So let me kind of break down my own kind of reflections from this episode. And then I'm going to kind of prompt you guys with some questions that I hope will help you kind of think more deeply about navigating your careers and moving you closer to your goals. So, something that I was reflecting on from that quote and kind of where I am currently is I want you guys to start thinking about identifying your season within the fitness industry. So, what I mean by season is are you a new instructor? Did you just recently get your certification? I would kind of call that the, beginner season. You are um, really just so new in the fitness space and really should be saying yes to as many opportunities as possible, training with as many different teachers as possible, and really diving into your craft and your work and really focusing on mastering the skills you just learned in your certification program because it can be incredibly overwhelming when you come out of any kind of certification program, whether that be personal training program, a kettlebell program, a prenatal, postnatal program, a Pilates certification, yoga certification. You're just bombarded with so much information. And I think it's really important not to get distracted by all the noise that is out in the fitness industry of trendy exercises or just, you know, different movement modalities within say like for instance Pilates, like there's so many different ways you can explore the Pilates system in more depth as a already advanced practitioner. But I think what's really important is when you first leave your certification program, you really focus on understanding the basics, understanding the mentality and the modality and the why behind the structure of your certification program. Because if you're able to really understand the basics and how to use the basics with any type of client, you yourself will understand those systems better and then be able to progress your knowledge further when diving deeper into the method or going into more advanced exercises because you have would have built that foundation for yourself of understanding the why behind the method or really understanding why we take time to progress a client to moving them into a more difficult exercise. So if you're feeling overwhelmed post certification, I really think that you need to take a deep breath, kind of clear your head and clear the noise and focus on what you just learned and focus on really mastering the material you just learned because we can only intake so much material at once. And you know, give yourself that time and space to play with that material within your own body, play with it within your clients, and really understand that before trying to get more complicated into the nuances and depths of whatever modality you're training in. And then for the another season that's in, I kind of call it the building phase. So it's kind of you've been teaching maybe for 5 plus years, 5 to 6 years already. You have probably had a lot of more ground experience working with different kinds of people, different kinds of bodies, working in different kinds of studios. You kind of have a better sense of who you are as a teacher. You're kind of coming into your own with your own voice, kind of understanding what kinds of, you know, exercises or what kind of modalities interest you. And I think this is more leaning into that curiosity and what doesn't interest you and what works for you as a trainer and what is not working for you as a trainer. So, for instance, I feel like I can put myself in the building stage because right now I am building Emergence. I am realize that I'm really curious and interested about building a community and building a support system for instructors because I feel it's really important that we support each other both mentally, physically, and also educationally in becoming the best coaches possible. But with that comes a lot of fear. And that's something that uh, I kind of wanted to kind of dive a little deeper in and thinking about how kind of fear is can get in our way sometimes. And right now is kind of a scary time, I would say, politically, socially, economically, and kind of trusting yourself and being able to lean into that fear and move through it and sit with it. And even though you're super uncomfortable, um, kind of lean into it and let yourself be uncomfortable, but know and really be able to trust yourself that you're moving in the right direction. And that's something Alexa and I talked about, and something I think that quote embodies. I know this industry can be super overwhelming and scary because there is not a set path for you. And it's not like climbing the corporate ladder necessarily, especially if you're kind of carving your own path within it, or you're a self employed instructor, or even within like a gym setting. It's not so cut and dry. And I think as instructors and in the fitness industry, it's really important for us to be multifaceted and adaptable, specialized and really skilled in your craft, but be able to be adaptable, and with that comes a lot of uncertainty. And uncertainty and fear is something that I think holds us all back and something I've really, really been thinking about. And I wanted to sort of break it down. I was on the treadmill earlier going for a walk myself, and I've been thinking a lot about AI and just the way the world is changing and ChatGPT and kind of relating that back to ourselves and the human body. And I was kind of thinking about this idea that like we are our own chat GPT bots, right? Like we have our own internal algorithms, whether that is positive thoughts about ourselves or negative or limiting beliefs. And so, for instance, like I've been using ChatGPT a little bit more to organize my thoughts or just do some research. But we have to remember that ChatGPT kind of only pulls from whatever information is already on the web. It kind of has a biases in a way because it can only really pull whatever information is already out there. So, when thinking about that for myself, I was thinking like, okay, Laura, so throughout your life, you've had these narratives about yourself or specific limiting beliefs that are really set into your programming, into my programming. So, when I am going through a phase where I'm trying to stretch myself to grow or to push myself into a new space or learn something new, and I feel very fearful and scared, I automatically go back into those old narratives or old algorithms because that's the only information I have about myself. And that's kind of a safe place. So, I'll draw on that previous information because it's like, that narrative there is already written, and whether you know it or not, it's like you feel comfortable there because you kind of already can predict the outcome, right? So it's a lot scarier being in a place of not knowing and trusting that things are going to work out for you, even if you're super uncomfortable and super feeling very unsafe within your body or in a new space. But something that I think is really important from this current episode is really trusting yourself and trusting other people, that if you're really investing in your education and doing good work and being a kind and good person, people will help you and people want to help you. And I know that this community I'm building, you guys want to help each other and you care about yourselves and your clients and being the best teacher possible. So that kind of starts within, and it's cheesy, and but I'm really seeing that because I have been, you know, feeling very vulnerable and exposed doing emergence, to be quite honest, because I'm speaking from my own experiences and my own insecurities. And as an instructor, I know I have a lot of negative self narratives around, my educational gaps or not. I know we have a lot of pressure about looking a specific way because the way we look is, some people say it's your, resume, but I try to challenge those narratives when feeling overwhelmed and feeling like I may have gained some extra weight recently, if I'm really being honest, because I've been very stressed building emergence and working overtime and teaching 45 hours a week of private clients and trying to maintain my mind, body, my mental health because I want to show up for those clients, but that also comes as, maybe I haven't been sleeping enough or over snacking. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, like, it's not, that's just part of life and there's nothing to be ashamed about. But I started to get in my head about that. And that made me think about these algorithms of sort of going back into those old patterns of feeling bad about myself or feeling like, I don't know if I can do this right now. Like, I'm really, really scared. And I don't know, like, if I'll be able to, if this is all worth it. But then I remembered that, I am in charge of changing those narratives. And if you look back on everything you've accomplished so far, and if I look back on everything I've done thus far, and all the kind people who've helped me, and all the education I've done, and think of all the education you've invested in, all the work you've done, that has pushed me to where I am now. And regardless of what I may be feeling internally or feeling about my body, it is not necessarily the truth. There are some truths, of course. There's things in my control that I can do to change the way I feel about my body, But in the end, I think it's about realizing that we have the power over our thoughts, and that those are much more powerful than you think, and it will kind of change your relationship to your body and also to how you move throughout the world. So, for instance, like, I was not feeling great about myself and how I'm feeling right now within my body, and feeling very scared about just the future of what I'm doing. But then I was thinking about why I'm doing this and how I feel when I think about this project. And then I actually feel like this is something I'm very curious in and I think is really important. And I hope, you guys are benefiting from this. And reminding myself that it actually made me look at my body in a kinder way and shift that narrative and be like, it's okay, Laura. Like, our bodies fluctuate. We go through moments of fear, and kind of just like we teach our clients, right? Our clients are scared. They live stressful lives. Their bodies fluctuate. We're all very hard on ourselves, but I am going to continue pushing forward, show up at the gym, maybe not snack as much at night, but those kinds of things are in my control. But what's like not in my control is, how it's received by you. But what I can control is the fact that I know that doing this makes me really happy and I feel a sense of purpose doing this. So that's something I kind of wanted you to prompt you guys to start thinking about and kind of start asking yourself about is so kind of know your season. And then also let me touch on the third season. I think that's your this very seasoned instructor. You might own your own studio, you might have a entire web platform, do teach teacher trainings, like there's so many things you can do, but you've really created a community and a sustainable business for yourself. And I can't speak necessarily on that. And I think I need to actually be more curious and get more information about what it's like to be at that point in your life. Or maybe you have families, right? And you've already built that solid foundation of your business and community, but you also want to have sustainability within that because you are building your own community and family life, or you have other priorities at a different stages in your life. And it's important also to remember that your priorities will shift and your values will change. And so will the kind of time you have to allocate to different things will change. And I think it's important that we're compassionate with ourselves and that you're not always going to look like you did when you were 20, and you might not always have the time to be working on your body as much as we would like to in fitness. We love it. But sometimes we need to remember what our priorities are and that we are not just the vessel we're in, but we are the people who surround us. We are the experiences we have in our everyday life. And we are how we feel daily. And I just want you guys to feel that if you're feeling like not great in yourself or you're being really hard on yourself or whatever is going on in your life right now, that I want to remind you that, whatever you are doing daily to push yourself a little further to who you want to be is enough. And you have to hold on to that and remind yourself daily that, you know, you have to be your own cheerleader, and I'm here cheering for you because sometimes I feel extremely alone and like I want to give up, but then I remember that I love what I do and I think it's so important that we build that resilience within ourselves. And that's what our job is. We do that for our clients. So I really guys want you guys to remember that you deserve that same amount of support for yourself within yourself and for you to rewire your algorithms and update those systems so you can be adaptable and resilient to whatever is coming towards you within your future or whatever goals you have. And adaptability is incredibly important in this changing environment that we're in this world. And I think education and continuing education is going to keep you um, relevant. And I know that for a fact. And that was another very poignant point within our conversation is the importance of continuing education and following your curiosity and investing in yourself in that way. And I know it can be extremely expensive, but we live in the age of technology and YouTube, and there are resources, libraries, don't forget about those. Um, and there's so many resources that you can use to your advantage and to really educate yourself and update your algorithms and update your systems and stay on top of that because that can be very frustrating because I know for me sometimes where I get frustrated and feel sometimes bad about myself is my when I feel like I'm lacking in knowledge. And then I'll get frustrated because it's not it's like I lack that information. I haven't integrated that into my algorithm yet or into my, knowledge systems or database yet. And then I feel frustrated with clients that I can't progress them the way they need to. And then that's usually a sign for me that it's time to do another certification program. It's time to ask more questions with my mentor, or maybe go into the studio and do a little bit more self practice so I can really dive into the method and kind of play around and kind of understand the why behind the exercise or the movements. Um, so that's something I think we should think about as well. Okay, so something I want to kind of leave you guys with, you can get a pen and paper out, is kind of thinking about core values. And I know this can be like blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't know why we're thinking about values, but because our industry is kind of hor not linear, I think I've learned that when I kind of have identified my core values, it's kind of an anchor for me. So when I feel like I'm getting lost or I'm working with people that I don't think align with those values or taking opportunities that kind of aren't aligning with those values or, you know, maybe making business decisions that don't align, I start to feel uncomfortable and kind of like my intuition, I guess, just doesn't feel right. And then those actually those people I work with or those opportunities I take don't actually go the well because it's not really authentic to my goals and to who I am. And then I don't do my best and I don't do my best work or the outcome isn't exactly what I would like. So, my core values, as an example, are integrity. I think it's incredibly important to be honest, truthful, honorable, even in difficult situations. Um, it's important for me to really build that honesty with myself. And it's hard. And I lie to myself all the time. But sometimes, yeah, you got to face the music. Like I was saying earlier, like, yeah, I've been snacking probably too much. Not that it's that big of a deal. And, I've been not sleeping enough and not prioritizing my health enough. And so my body reacts to that. And, if I'm going to be really honest with myself, I need to prioritize my sleep. And if I want the outcome of feeling better in my body, I need to go back and kind of be more mindful about what I'm putting in my body and taking better care of it, or be more honest about maybe I don't feel like I'm producing the best podcasts or interviews, and I need to be honest with myself and be like, maybe I haven't actually been allocating enough time to doing my research about my interviewees, or that my self practice in Pilates, I don't feel like I'm progressing, so maybe I need to go into the studio and spend a extra, day playing around and going diving deep, but it depends on your priorities. Um, Another one of my core values is autonomy and having the ability to not be told where I need to be or how I would need to live my life or if I can take a vacation or not. And that's something that I really value. Of course, I respect people and the people I work with. I respect deadlines and I respect um, being a good person and doing good work for people. But I also value that I have the ability to say no or to take a vacation when I want, or if I really wanted to move across the world, I could, and I'm not held down by a corporation. And that is what makes me happy. So when thinking about that, that's something I think about when working with different people or taking different opportunities is can I still hold that autonomy? And the last one is authenticity, which I think is important to so many of us, but really meaning in my relationships, building meaningful relationships, both personally and professionally. And that is a major anchor for me because when I feel like I'm working with people who don't value being themselves and don't value other people and respecting other people and wanting the best for people, and we all make mistakes and none of us are perfect. And I think hopefully everybody wants that in the end, but people who maybe don't value education and don't have the self-awareness to know when they're wrong and when they need to reach out and can look past their egos and really be able to be honest with themselves and have that integrity and authenticity. And those are kind of the people that I gravitate towards. And I can tell you for a fact that Alexa is one of those people who both embody integrity and authenticity. And you can hear that in her interview. And you can see that in the community she's built and the kind of way she works and how her business is and why it's so successful. And those are the people I gravitate towards. And somebody I hope I can continue to be, and somebody I hope that I can continue to work with. So those are my 3 core values: integrity, autonomy, and authenticity, and writing those out kind of helps me navigate my goals, or if I feel like I'm straying from that, I can kind of re-anchor myself, recenter myself, and, kind of remember why I do what I do and how I wanna go about being in the fitness industry, because it can be very easy to just sort of like go for the money and do the trendy things and charge crazy amounts, but that's not what's really important to me. Of course, sustainability is, that's why I'm creating this. Like, we have to be strategic and smart, but I really care about being ethical towards our clients and um, truly being honest with the value of what I'm giving. And that also comes with being honest with yourself. And am I investing enough in my education and myself to be able to, attract or work with the kinds of people I want to work with? And I know for a fact, you guys probably feel the same way. That's why you're listening and you guys care. So I want to leave that kind of thought and thought process with you. So, kind of closing out, think about your old algorithms, both negative and positive, and kind of think when you're feeling overwhelmed or upset that every single time you feel like that, try to rewrite that algorithm, update your systems, and it will get easier and easier every time. And there's a lot of fucking shit happening out there right now. And it's a scary time, but I am supporting you guys. I believe in you guys. And really, thank you so much for listening. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. And remember, just take a nice deep breath in, breathe out, and just keep going, because I'm here for you. And I know you guys can do this. And I am rooting for us all. So thanks so much. Bye.